company starts with our founder and CEO, Greg Renfrew, and that's Greg with 2 G's on the end of her name. She is a woman. A few years ago, she watched a documentary about the environment, and it had a very profound effect on her. She started to examine the products that she was using. She started to examine chemicals that were in her home, what her family was being exposed to, what they were putting back out into the environment. She started to do some research as well and realized a few startling things that are going on here in our country. I'm going to get through them really quickly and get on to better things. So as it stands currently, 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women in the U.S. will experience cancer in his or her lifetime. Childhood cancer rates have risen 20% since the 1970s. Younger and younger couples are having trouble conceiving. Girls are experiencing puberty at younger ages. And breast cancer rates from 30, 40 years ago, where 1 in 20 women would be diagnosed with breast cancer. Today that rate is, you got it, 1 in 8, and perhaps even more startling, only 10% of those who are diagnosed now carry the BRCA gene, which is the cancer susceptibility gene. The other 90% have no genetic link to the disease. We got you covered if you need another glass of wine right now after hearing some of those stats. Wine way over here. So Greg learned this. She learned that exposure to some toxic chemicals potentially could be linked to the rise in some of the diseases that I mentioned, others as well. So Greg being Greg, when she learns something, she decides to do something about it. So the first thing she did was a sweeping detox of her home. Small things, large things, ripped out the pots and pans, replaced all the non-stick with stainless. She started to examine the fire retardants in the mattresses and in the couch and in the drapes and the rugs. Looked at what food she was consuming, and one day got to her bathroom, opened it up, started looking at the products she had been using for years and years on herself, the makeup, the hair stuff, the body stuff in the shower, then started looking at what she was now using on her children, the bubble bath, the shampoo, started to do more research, and was shocked and appalled at how often we're exposed to known toxic chemicals in our personal care products. Did another sweeping detox of her home, all the personal care products, started using safer things, and here's what she started to realize. She was really missing the performance that her junkier products used to give her. And here's where the idea for Beauty Counter was first born. Safe products that are extremely effective and high performing. Beauty Counter is an education first, product second company. And we truly view it as our job to share information about what's going on in the industry and what's going on in the products that we're using every single day with all of you, so that you can make more informed choices on behalf of yourselves and on your family. Unfortunately, there is not a lot of regulation going on in the industry. An example of this, it is perfectly okay and legal for companies to use known toxic ingredients in the products that we're using every single day here in America. There is, let's see, the last time any law was passed governing this billions of dollars per year industry was the year 1938. That was a heck of a long time ago. I think the Pearl Brewery was around in 1938, right? It might have looked a little bit different, but it was around. But that was a long time ago. And even though that was a long time ago, 1938, if it was a good health protective law, that would be okay. But unfortunately, it is not. There are so many loopholes that exist. And overall, the industry, there is a general and overwhelming lack of transparency, and Beauty Counter was really founded to do something about that. We just feel that we deserve so much better than that. And I'm truly proud that we are not only addressing this issue, but we offer a very beautiful solution to the problem as well in the form of our products. Now, I'm a product junkie. I can talk product all night long. Can you hear me okay? If you think, okay, I can talk product all night long. I'm just going to cover a few quick things, then I'm going to hand this over to Athena. Our holiday collection right now, we are in prime holiday season. I love our holiday collection. I think it is so beautiful. And for the first time ever, we have beautiful palettes, which I don't think these are going to be around after the holidays. So I would say take advantage of this now. The product that I fell in love with happens to be our shampoo. It works on all hair types. It is a beautiful shampoo. I love our body butter. I love our sunscreens. I love our face oils, which we have a bit of a cult following around. And I love all of our tin skins and our color cosmetics as well. If anyone else wants to talk product later on, please come and find me. I will be around, but I want to talk a little bit more about Beauty Counter's mission, which is to get safer products into the hands of everyone, and I am joined by Beauty Counter's Director of Community, Madame Athena Chang, and she's going to talk about her role within the company and how we are trying to fulfill our mission.
Okay.
Athena, take it away.
And I'm going to move back here, since we have some people behind. So if you guys could move a little closer. Can everyone hear me? I have my voice is very loud. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you, Laurel. And as you can see, in terms of Laurel and the information that she shared, at Beauty Counter, we speak a lot about environmental health. Right now, we're standing in an environment. A lot of people, when they think about environmental health and the environment, they think about the trees and the mountains and the sea. But we are an environment ourselves. Our body is an environment. There was a study done by the EWG and the Red Cross, and they found over 200 synthetic chemicals in the umbilical cord blood of newborn babies. What does that tell us? Not only are we being affected, our little ones and the children to come are being affected, and that is serious. And I'm going to speak a little bit about my why each of us have our why in terms of why we're a part of this movement. But before I discuss a little bit about my why, I just wanted to see a show of hands of the consultants in the room tonight. I applaud you for being a part of this movement. And as Laurel said, our mission is to get safe products in the hands of everyone. Now, my background, I come from a health and wellness background, and my areas of focus have been the Black and Latino communities in terms of my health work. I'm a woman of color, so entering Beauty Counter, I was asked by Greg to come on board to expand and bring the education and mission to the Black and Latino communities primarily. But the reason why, whether or not you are a woman of color, I think it's very important to know about the group that is affected the most within the United States if you're a part of this movement. So I'm going to share a little bit in regards to that. Women of color in the U.S. carry the highest chemical toxic load. What does that mean? Why? I get that questions all the time. It's a conglomeration of different reasons. There's no A plus B equals C. When you look at it, geographic location is taken into consideration, diet is taken into consideration, and in terms of our area of focus in terms of product, some of the most harmful products on the market are marketed to women of color. And how does this show up? When you look at a lot of the diseases and disorders that are on the rise that have been linked to chemical exposure, women of color tend to carry higher rates. What are those rates? When you look at early onset of puberty, the Black and Latino communities, young girls have higher rates. What does that mean in terms of breast cancer? The longer period of time that a woman, a female, is exposed to estrogen, it increases her risk of breast cancer. Then when you look at fibroids, 80% of African American women have diagnosed and undiagnosed fibroids. Latino community, Latinas carry the next higher rates. When you look at lupus, Asian, Hispanic, and African American have higher rates of lupus, the autoimmune disorder that has been linked to chemical exposure. So what does that mean? That we have to be conscious of the things that we are doing that increases our toxic load. But I believe in being proactive, not reactive. Not being scared or fearful with the information that you've learned, but using that information to empower yourself first, because it's about you. How do you begin to shift your life? But then I always say that we are placed here to also help others. So how do you shift the focus from what you've learned to giving this information to people and communities who can benefit from that? And I saw the show of hands, and I asked for a raise of hands, and I said, thank you to all the consultants in the room, because what you are doing is bigger than you. What you're doing will create change, not just today, but tomorrow. So what are the steps that we can all take? So not just women of color, because we are all affected by this. How can we become safer in terms of decreasing our risk factors? There was a study done, and it was placed on the EWG, that they took 100 Latina teenage girls harmful, toxic products that they're using and replaced it with safer products. And within 3 days, their toxic load had decreased. So it tells you that taking a simple step by just changing what you're placing on your skin can make a big difference. Now, coming from a health background, I didn't come from the beauty industry, and coming from a health black background, when Greg asked me to join this movement, I said absolutely yes. Why? This is my life's work. My life's work has been based about equipping people with the knowledge and the education that they need and the resources that they need to make better decisions. And so one thing in terms of Beauty Counter coming on board, you always know more about a company when you're on the inside. And I stand proudly with Beauty Counter when I look at our screening process. We have a 5-step screening process, which is one of the most rigorous in the industry. And I'm going to point out too, but I do urge you to go to the website and look at all 5 because all 5 are important. There is a never list that we've created. We have personally bagged 1,500 products that we choose to never ever use ingredients. And so our first step is to ban intentionally. That's how we arrived at our first step. The second step in our process is to screen rigorously. We screen every single ingredient for safety. So what do you walk away tonight? Tonight is not just about product. It's about creating change in your life. Speak to the consultants in the room. Speak to Laurel and I. When she's a product junkie, I'm a health junkie. And so,
we got you covered.
Yeah, don't go cold turkey. If what we've shared has inspired you or the consultant who invited you in any way, try it out. We would love to welcome more people into this movement. Why? That creates demand. It sends a message to the government that it is time and is important to change the laws because we are aware that not everyone will buy Beauty Counter. Not everyone can afford to buy Beauty Counter as well. And so the beauty of this company is that we've taken this all the way to Washington, and that's powerful. Education first, product second. So how do you become involved with this company? First step, you. Take a look. By becoming a client, your dollar creates a demand. It moves the industry along and it changes laws that really need to shift. Second, if you love what we do, consider becoming a member for a very small fee. And to me, the most powerful way to become involved with Beauty Counter is joining us as a consultant. And again, we are in the room. Feel free to float around, ask us any questions, and please enjoy the rest of your night.